You can have all the papers and all the requirements ticked, but how do you present yourself for the job? How are you showing up? Because by the time you show up for that interview, whether you like it or not, and this is proven, people will judge you based on within 10 seconds of meeting you. They'll make a 90% perception about you within 10 seconds of meeting you.
Yeah, in 10 seconds, you have already decided whether you're hiring me or not.
It has contributed. It's not the HR that fires.
It's the policy.
It is your supervisor.
Yeah.
Or the person to who you report to. By the time you're being brought to me to fire, I am managing the firing process. Keyword is I am managing the
firing process.
Yes, but by the time you come and say that this staff who works with me is not delivering, you're the one who's firing the person. It is not me. I'm just helping you manage Your boss has been telling you things you're not listening. your results are not being seen.
Mimi uko chini na kuja kureport CEO kwako. What are the chances you will even be on my side?
He's subject to the policies of the particular organization followed by the right procedure, because your disciplinary process, maybe at your level, is not the same way for the CEO would be.
Where?
Because remember, at that level, you're also taking care of a lot of things, including the image of that particular organization.
On instances where an employee dies, we've seen HRs advertising the role the next day.
Let me say that is something that can be done better. However, having somebody acting on the role is not wrong, Lynn, because remember, work must go on. Yeah? So you're not there. So let's have somebody picking up, even as we support you and the family in the transition process. Because Lynn, what do you want with the job? One thing for sure is that you have left us. You're not going to be with us. And the work will need to continue. And that is why most organizations have a succession plan.
The HR team is taking care of everyone. Who takes care of you?
Good question. In fact, we say that HR is a thankless, very thankless role. And so as a person, you have to really be very, very intentional in just making sure that you take care of yourself intentionally.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of LNS. My name is Lynn Ngugi, and I have to say it's always a pleasure to get to have these thought-provoking conversations together. Today's show is something I've always wanted to cover, not just for myself, but for so many people out there. I've always been fascinated by the term HR, and I've always asked myself, what is actually our relationship with HR? Whose intentions do they serve? And why do people sometimes say, I promise, I hate that HR in our office? Our guest today will be walking us through the journey of HR. What do they do? How do they help companies? And also, I'm pretty sure we are going to learn, because you remember our theme has been to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I'm about to let her introduce herself and just walk us through today's conversation. But before I do that, it's also been an amazing year working with our partners at Kings Developers Limited. They have done an extremely beautiful job supporting the network. And guys, if you need to own a home, a beautiful apartment, you know who to go to right now. Visit Kings Developers Limited, an ISO real estate certified real estate company. And I have to remind you, no pressure. Not only do they have upper end apartments such as Apollo Suites, but they also have medium range and also affordable housing. So visit them, and don't forget to talk to them about their flexible payment plan. And also to say thank you to you guys. I mean, I've always said, unaweza pika chakula na watu wasikule. It's been a good year having you guys in this platform, getting us to 1.1 something million subscribers. I appreciate you, and also my incredible team for always making sure that they come through and help us put conversations out there. I appreciate you. And of course, now without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce herself. Hello.
Hi, Lynn.
How are you?
Very well.
Would you hire me?
Based on what I'm seeing so far,
I'm hired.
I'll answer that by the end of this show. Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Very well.
Really nice to have you on the show.
It's nice to meet you, Lynn.
Again, it's a dream come true, just having this conversation. And I know we are having it with one of the best people out here. But before we even get any deeper, maybe looking at that camera, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Grace Mathu, a certified HR professional and also an image and etiquette coach. Yeah. It's good to be here.
Even image and etiquette.
Image and etiquette coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you combine both.
Yes.
Those are two different fields.
Yes.
Okay.
HR, but closely interrelated.
All right.
Yeah.
Today's show is one of the most awaited in this platform. And as I said, not just for me, but for everyone that wants to understand the role of HR. How does that come about? What problems do you guys solve? Who are you loyal to? I have so many questions. But before maybe I get there, why did you venture into this particular field?
Into HR?
Yes.
I would say for me, I realized my passion. I try to discover what I love, what I'm good at, and that is how I found myself into HR. It's not always been that. I've not always been a HR professional. I started as an IT professional, you know. When you're growing up, those days, I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
So IT, we're told where there is money, if you want money,
So
do IT. There is future in ICT.
Yes, yes.
So I did ICT, looked for a job, got a job as an IT auditor, but deep within, I felt there's something. There was a shell, there was a gap that was not fulfilled. And so I started on a journey to just find out, what do I love? Got feedback from people. People would naturally tell me, Grace, I think this is your line. Try this. And, you know, I just took a break from IT and took a 1-year journey to just rediscover myself, listen to myself, what is everything within me saying. And I decided, let me pursue a career around people, developing people, growing people, inspiring people, and all that culminated to a career in HR.
Right.
And that's where I am today.
Great.
Yeah.
And you said you took an entire 1 year.
1 year break.
Great.
Yes.
How do you, I've always been interested in asking this, because I feel like most people, and I've said it on the platform, they suffer from the fear of rent and food. So how am I taking a 1 year break from something that is already paying me to take a break to figure myself? How do you know it's time, and how do you survive with, you know, that whole 1 year of discovery? How do you survive?
So how do you know it's time? Everything inside you will tell you. If you're honest with yourself, everything inside you will tell you this is not working. You know, you'll struggle to wake up in the morning. Mondays will be, Sunday evening, you'll be looking at tomorrow, Monday, no, something is wrong. So you'll just, something inside you will tell you you don't have the right energy.
Yeah.
And that was me. So every day you're pulling yourself to go to work, you're not enjoying your work, you don't have your natural smile, you don't have the energy. The job is okay, but it's just something that is not okay. So you realize this is not me. Let me take a break. Let me rediscover myself and realize what is it that I should be doing. It's not easy. It takes a leap of faith. But Lynn, you've got to believe in yourself. One thing I'll tell you is there'll be so many noises. First, the questions I had to answer, even with my own family, is how are you leaving such a good job? Because I had gotten a job with one of the big 5 or the big 4 audit firms.
Yeah.
Which had been a lifelong desire to work with one of the big 4s. And now I'd gotten the opportunity. And now 4 years later, I'm here saying I want to resign. To where? I don't even have an answer. I'm saying I'm taking a break to go and rediscover myself. It was tough. Wow. But I keep telling people, the most important voice which you must obey is your own voice. Everything else is noise, and it's good to filter the noise, take in what you can, but remember that you're asking yourself, what makes me happy? What makes me tick? And so I took a leap of faith. The best thing is, it was not just a break to relax, and as I'm listening to myself, I was keeping myself busy because, Lynn, I love fashion. I love clothes.
Yes, yes, it shows.
I love clothes. So I told myself I'll take a break, focus on what I love. So I would find most of the time people tell me, Grace, dress me. I have an interview, I have a wedding, I have a function, dress me. So that 1 year break, my mind was away from IT, of course, listening to myself, but doing something that I loved, which was dressing people. So I'd actually help dress people up, help them with discover. I even had my own fundi. So I'd come up with a design and a fundi would execute it for me. So that was my break. Within that 1 year break then, the time I was clear what I needed to do, then I started now looking for jobs, entry-level jobs. Keyword, entry-level jobs. Because then I realized I'm going into a new field. I don't have the experience that I need and maybe the necessary papers for that job. So I was ready to start at whatever level and grow up, but in a happy and fulfilled way. That is how I found myself in a HR career. So entry level, then I started doing the papers that are necessary for HR. And that is why I said I'm a certified HR professional, because there are papers that I needed to take. Even got in and started doing my master's. So now started seeking the papers because I'd already done a bachelor's in IT. So I just need to pick what are the papers that I need to build a career in future towards HR.
So in short, you can start from somewhere, but you should never be comfortable. Keep upgrading your skills.
Exactly.
Keep improving.
Keep getting better. Keep listening to yourself and asking myself, what do I really want? What's my goal? What's my vision? You know, I keep making, we always say progress over perfection. Yes. As you continue the journey, it keeps unfolding, brighter, clearer. Yeah. It clarifies a lot of things, but you can't give up and you can't get distracted by the noises. All
right. So once again, I want to understand what happens around the whole HR profession. But there's an interesting survey that came out, and it shows that there's an increase in the number of women who are earning more than men in the, I think, 100,000 category. It shows that the number of women has increased, and people are asking what is really happening from a HR's perspective. Would we be right to say firms or corporates are now hiring more women than men?
Yeah, that's true. And another way to look at it is that there has been a conversation where women were disadvantaged in the past. And so most corporates have taken up that feedback and made sure that there's equality in pay. So for a very long time, there was a conversation on the reverse that women's pay is discriminated against the men, such that the men were earning more than the women for a very long time. And you know, women and campaigns and talking for themselves, they can be really loud. So with time, corporates have taken up that feedback and from where I'm seated, been very keen to make sure that there is equal pay for women and men across the ranks. Right now, there's still a survey that is showing at the top, the men are still being paid more than the women, again at the top, as you go up the corporate ladder. So again, organizations are working hard to make sure that they close that pay gap, such that if you're a CEO as a lady and as a man, then you're paid around the same pay range. Yeah, so we are slowly closing that gap.
Yes. But how is it closing the gap though, if when it comes to salary on the 100,000 bracket, women are actually more? Men are not. So which means women have higher, because I believe in corporate, the higher the position, the higher the salary, right? Which means though we have a lot of men at the top there, then pia hapa katikati, you might have 8 women and then another man. So because it's the salary, because for me to earn 100,000, that means nani sisi wengi, there's an increase. It's like 92% of women. What does that say though? How much are we paying men?
Or maybe there are no men at the entry level. You know, generally you find that women are risk takers. I've just told you, I was willing to start my career again at an entry level position. So you find women generally are able to take risks. You'll find that most of the opportunities that come for people to exit jobs, like the way I did, most women take that opportunity as opposed to men. We are generally risk takers. So you find in a certain bracket of work levels, there are probably more women, and it's the nature of even gender right now. We are more women in the country. Even we are more women. There are more women than the men. So anywhere there are women, chances are, if you look at the figures, they'll be higher. But as you go up the corporate ladder, it's also been there has been a survey showing that women fall off. They are shy of going up the corporate ladder because of what we call small and medium excuses, SMEs. So you'll say, I need to go and take care of my babies. I think I'm in that phase of my career. I don't want a bigger challenge. I don't want to travel. I don't want to be out so long. Women. Then the men take up the challenge and go up. So there is that, it keeps on changing. And that is why these surveys are very important every other year. It gives us the dynamics of career. Some women actually, some men would like to be self-employed. They'll start businesses, while women are okay being employed. So it's statistics that keep changing. At some point, you'll see that in the career entry level, there are more women. Then as we go up, women fall off and we have more men going up.
Okay.
But I would imagine about the pay, it's more even about the numbers, because you find also corporates and organizations at large right now are trying to make sure that there is equality even in gender, so that you don't have an organization that has too many men or too many women. Even as we hire, we are careful to make sure that there is a balance. You don't look biased.
So there are chances that we could apply for 10 positions and 7 are men and 3 are women, and you will end up taking all the women because you need to balance.
Yes, based on where that organization is at that time. And that is why if you read at most adverts of a job, there's always some line down there, like they will say female candidates encouraged to apply, because they have a need in the organization and there's a gap and maybe they need to have a female person in that role. So there is always that line down there. I don't know that most people read, or they go straight to the requirements of the job, but they don't read those lines at the bottom where they will say even people with disabilities encouraged to apply.
So
male candidates, yes, always read down there. It tells you in details what that organization is very keen on. So it's more of attention to detail. But most organizations right now are really moving towards diversity, inclusivity, and so they'll always be clear who they are keen on hiring.
How competitive is that though? Because if we use the case like in government, where for gender equality, people have insisted on having women reps, having this number of women here and there, but also there's been a conversation that they just got those positions because they are women, not because they are qualified. So how competitive is that?
No, I think it's a perception. Yes, they are women, but they were very competent. They were not hired because first they were competent, and then now the gender came into play. And that is why even at the advert, they said female candidates are encouraged for this role. But the interview process is competitive only with a keen eye on a woman. So let's be clear, it's a woman, but it's a very competent person. It's the gender, yes, but we're also looking at the skills. That always takes preference for every HR professional, that it's about skills. It's not just about gender, but there's so many other criteria that we look at before we can just say it's a lady, it's a male. You have to tick many boxes, not just one. There are so many other big boxes that you have to tick.
So being a woman is just a bonus.
It's a bonus.
Okay. I want to close this chapter, but is it true that a lot of men don't like working under women? For men don't like, if your boss is a woman, you would rather leave this job.
Not all. I've seen both cases. It could be perception. Let's start from there. It's a perception, and also maybe cultural. You know, there are people who are really bound by the cultures of where they come from, where a woman is always second. You know, Lynn, that is very, very it's there, it's serious. It's their culture interference, where if, for example, I'm from a certain tribe or ethnic group, where the man is at the top and the woman is seen as the second. So if you come with the same perception to the corporate world, you will struggle. You will struggle to report to a woman if you're a man. However, at least, or thankfully, corporates are all inclusive. So they will make sure that there are systems that guide and policies that guide, so that by the time you hire, you also know that you come to be guided by a policy. You're not coming to deliver because you're reporting to a man, but it's what is the job all about. And then if you see there is a struggle to report to a woman, you can always, there is help. As a human resource department, there is help, which includes going for, development programs, and just creating an awareness and an encouragement. So I would say that's a perception, and it could come from a cultural background of where the person is coming from, but I wouldn't confirm affirmatively that men struggle to report to
a woman.
A woman, not all. That was probably one case, and it could be coming from their background and their culture.
All right. I promise you guys I'm going to
and
the HR.
Upbringing. Upbringing.
I know I'm going to the HR part, but just one last question. They say the reason why corporates will hire a lot of women, it's because women are easy to take orders, boss around, command or do whatever, as compared to men. There are things you'll tell a man to do in an office and they'll tell you, you don't pay me enough to do what you're telling me to do. But for women, they shrink. They'll take the orders as compared to men. How true can that be?
What they call submissive. are submissive. I wouldn't say that we tend to hire women because of that. Again, all these things lean our perceptions.
Lakini Grace Goja, me, I was doing my research. Companies that have more women tend to scale up real fast as compared to one with men. So is that a secret? No. Kwa hiring, you guys, you will favor women because you know they are likely to boss around.
No, for certain roles, you can be sure. There are some roles that women will play better than men. Like, I don't know how many receptions you've gone and found gentlemen. Just do a quick look of all the receptions you've walked in.
Attitude.
But how many men are you likely, in a probability of even 5 receptions, you find like course. 3 to 4 are ladies. Women. Because that's a role that is better played by ladies because of their personality, their welcoming personality and traits. You know, the flexibility that is required at a reception to keep smiling, to keep talking. So I would say it's more of the role. So you find in an organization, if there are more roles that are inclined towards female, as you're saying, then you'll find more women. It's the nature of the organization. What are you people doing? What are the roles inside there that will tend to determine the ratio of men to women, but not really that we like to hire or we tend to hire generally, but we are guided by the nature of the role. So that is why I've given you an example of a receptionist. Rarely, maybe 1 in 5 will you find a gentleman really even showing up for the interview. So you find if you advertise for a position of a receptionist, 90% of the people who show up will be women. So chances of you taking a lady are higher. So it's guided by the role and what business that organization is in, that you'll find a lot of women then applying for the role.
Sasa mbona tunaongelelea basi gender equality? Because if receptions are bound to be given to more women, they say CEOs are supposed to, those positions are supposed to be given to men because men are more logical. Women are emotional. So men will quickly make decisions, but women tutaenda na tu emotions pale. So would we be okay to say the same way the receptionist would be a woman, we have to accept that the CEO should also be a man?
No, and also men are the ones who are not showing up for those roles. So we have, as a HR person, I've advertised a job as I should, but only 5 out of 100, only 5 are men. So what are we saying? Why is the problem? Is it me who advertised the role, or it's the men in responding? It's the men who didn't respond. So from the first instance, the men did not respond. If I call for an interview, for example, for CEOs, and women decide this is too much for me, I will not show up. And out of 10 people who show up, only 1 is a woman, and 9 are men. Who has disqualified themselves? It's the woman. And that is why I say all the time, at times, and that's why even most of the things you're saying about HR, it's a perception. But in reality, it's not, on the ground things are different. So as the hiring manager, I'll be seen to hire a man as a CEO. But behind the scenes, when I advertised, 9 men showed up, 1 woman showed up. So the probability of picking a man was higher naturally. So behind the scenes, there is an information or supporting evidence to what people see on the outside. So it's more or less a perception. And now I can tell you most organizations right now are working towards being all inclusive and diverse. So there is more opportunities for everybody, but people have to show up. People have to show up. You know, they've also shown that women double check and double guess themselves too much for a role. So if you advertise a role and say, we require a master's, a degree, 5 years experience, a woman will be looking at all those requirements, line word by word. They say, they want a master's. And I've just started mine. Let me not apply. A man will be like, they want a master's. See, I'm applying for it tomorrow. Let me go. So the difference between a man and a woman is that women at times are just, they self-guess, double guess themselves too much, while a man just hits the road running. They believe in themselves and they move. So I think let's show up.
So men are showing up for top positions.
Yes, they are showing up. Well, the women are more or less sitting down and asking myself, should I go? Do you think I'll make it? Do you think I'll be able to do it? Instead of just asking those questions, show up.
Yeah.
Go and give it your best. The
diploma.
Yes, just show up. Believe in yourself.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get deeper.
Yeah.
I'm going to use LNN as an example.
Yes.
Because during the formation of this network, I was like, why do you need a HR? See, you know what you are looking for. You have interviews, get who you are looking for, and start working. Kimenilamba, of course, lazima.
Who did the interviews?
Wacha, si wewe, tunatumia. Wacha nikupe ile kidogo na, no, I'm just saying the big. I said this is a story I will give in 5 years. We are on our 3rd year.
Okay,
so bado we are still learning. But I'm going to walk you through some of the common mistakes that maybe I personally look back and I was like, that was not the right thing to do. Hiring because you think you can, but because you don't have the, you know, you are not qualified for that particular role. So, for instance, if you take LNN, and this is for our formation year, why would I need a HR? Why can't I do all these things by myself?
And how would you move without a HR? Let me throw that question back to you. How would you even start thinking about the organization without a HR? Yet HR is known to take care. Throwing it back to you, who are the most important assets in your organization right now?
The team.
The team. Who are the people? So, and the HR departments helps you take care of your people and their people issues. So how is it that you're proceeding with the most important asset, which is the people, without somebody to help you take care of them? So I'll take you back. That HR needs to come in from the moment you think of starting that particular organization, because then you need to do things right from the foundation. Because if the foundation is shaken, Lynn, you're not going far. Get it right from the foundation, so which means that you want people. So you want to get the right team. You might have an idea of who you want to work with most of the time, but how are you bringing them on board? Because at times what you see is not what you get, and then you want to be very clear on what are the expectations from the word go. And remember, you are Lynn, you're doing the shoot. You don't want also to now keep on following up with other issues that you're not the expert. You're not an expert in those areas. You can be a jack of all trades. So you're good in communication, you're good in coordination, but you may not be good in managing people matters. So when you're setting up that organization, you needed to have the right talent. How did you bring them on board? You needed somebody to come and tell you, this is how you hire. And then these are the policies that will guide you. Anywhere 2 or 3 people are gathered, someone has to put order. Because when people come in, everybody wants to be in charge. And that is why you find most organizations have policies. Policies just guide how an organization is going to run, how people are expected to deliver, what the organization expects of you. So there is order. So you need the HR from the onset to come and help you set up that particular element where people is concerned. Just make it very neat and comfortable. But I would love to hear, how did you manage without a HR, and did you have to come back and get a HR, or you realized you can do it without the HR?
I came back. I came back, but the beginning wasn't what you were explaining, which now makes me realize the perception that HRs are just to hire is wrong.
Oh yes, that's like 1% of what we do. It's a key element of what we do, but it's not everything we do. So hiring is just part of our journey, and it helps you get the right people and have them on board the right way. Because when you come in on board, we need to tell you, this is how you have been hired. You're hired here for how long? This is your file, you know. This is what we expect of you. This is what the organization expects of you. This is what we expect of you. And we're able to make sure we track performance, which is called performance management. Which is just a way of saying, this is why you're here. This is what we expect of you. This is what you also expect of us. Because it's a two-way. The organization, it's usually a mutual relationship. The organization grows you as you grow the organization. But that has to be done in a very orderly way, especially when you're dealing with people who are the most important assets of an organization. Because without people, which are the skills in that organization, the talent in that organization, then you don't have, the organization is as good as the people in it. And that makes it very important to have a team, the HR team, that comes and makes sure that those people are well taken care of, that they are comfortable. Because if they are not comfortable, then they will not deliver. It's a happy employee, a happy organization, happy results.
So formation years, make sure you have your HR and you have your HR policy,
Yes.
and you have your code of conduct.
Yes, all those are very important.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then now you open.
You can
open up to the hiring system.
Yes.
Okay, so you advertise the job?
Now, first, most organizations, before they open up their doors, as I'm telling you, they've already hired. The key roles that need the organization, by the time an organization is opening their doors, key positions have already been hired. They are not opening their doors and now asking who should be at the reception, who should be cooking with a restaurant, they've already done. In the background, they've already done that. So from the time a team decides that they are coming up with an organization, it is important to have a HR expert in your team. And the HR expert is probably, number one, understand what is the organization coming to do, what do they want to achieve, what people do they need in that organization, and then even come up with what we say, a structure of how that organization is going to run. From the top to the bottom, because you don't want everyone to arrive and then you start asking, what are we supposed to be doing? Or then we all have all the people doing the same thing. So they'll draw up an organization structure of how that organization will look like, what are the key roles. So those are if they come up with the key roles, those are the ones they'll be quick to hire even before the doors open. Once they have the key roles in place, now they can open the doors and slowly fill all the other roles as business continues. Yeah, so hiring is part of the process, but after that, when people have come on board, there is a lot of work. Because, Lynn, you want a healthy employee. You want a whole employee who shows up and gives their best. That alone requires you to be paid well, or paid. It may not be paid well, but at least you're being paid. There is a work environment, meaning you have your seat, you have your chair. It meets the minimum requirements of you being in that environment. The authorities are aware that you're hiring, meaning all the regulating bodies around an organization being registered, employees being registered are aware that that organization exists, and you have met the minimum requirements. You know, some of the roles that HR plays is just likened to your house. You know, for that house to be even safe for anyone to stay in it, there's a lot of work that goes inside of there. Not just the cooking. You know, you make sure there is somewhere for people to sit. It is safe for people to come into that door. People are guided on what they need to do. So it is, you would liken HR to the, you know, the housekeepers, and make sure the environment is safe and it's conducive for work, and also protects the organization from any external forces that may stop the operations of that business. So we make sure that we have the law in place and we are compliant to the law. Because anywhere that when you open up an organization, then you're subject to the laws of that land. So you need to make sure that you tick the boxes on what is expected of you as an organization for compliance and for smooth operations. So behind the scenes, there is a lot we do, not just hiring. Hiring is just as, like, I would say 1% of what we do.
Beautiful. And now you've advertised the positions, and Lynn wants to apply to your company. What will likely get me disqualified, or what will make me qualify for that particular position? Some of the things people might not know. What do you guys look for? Nimekam na masters zangu, PhD, I'm good, I'm smart, niko sawa. Me, I know I'm confident, I'm going to get this job. What is likely to disqualify me, or what's likely to qualify me to getting that position?
So one of the things we do when we are putting out a job outside there is setting out the requirements for that job. What are we looking for? At the bare minimum, what are we looking for? But besides that, there is also how you present yourself for the job. You know, you can have all the papers and all the requirements ticked, but how do you present yourself for the job? If we say we are recruiting for a CEO, besides the papers, Lynn, we're also looking at executive presence. You know,
the what?
Executive presence.
So I should come and say good morning.
Executive presence. How are you appearing? How is your You know, CEO is an executive role. So if you walk into a space, how are you presenting yourself an executive? Are you already ticking that box? Meaning you're not timid, you're confident, how you show up dressing, you know, confidence in yourself, and then how you articulate the matters. Because at CEO level, it's beyond papers. You've already gotten all the papers. By the time when you're applying for a CEO position, it's at the bare minimum you have the paper. So we are looking for the extra. And that is why I like to always encourage people to focus on what we call the PIE formula, which gives you sort of a guide and tell you that this life, to succeed in your career journey or business journey, not just career, even business, is not just about the papers. There are so many other factors that will contribute to your success. When I say PIE formula, P means performance. And that is your day-to-day work. How well are you doing your job? And then there is image. The I is for image. Lynn, how are you showing up? Because by the time you show up for that interview, whether you like it or not, and this is proven, people will judge you based on within 10 seconds of meeting you. They'll make a 90% perception about you within 10 seconds of meeting you.
Yeah, in 10 seconds, you have already decided whether you're hiring me or not.
It has contributed. Remember, it's a scoring sheet.
Yes.
It's a scoring sheet. By the time you get the job, there's a whole scoring sheet of boxes that you need to tick. So image lean means that when you show up, people already bought into you. And that is why I said, you can imagine 10 seconds, people forming a 90% perception of you within 10 seconds. Even you, Lynn, if you're to be honest, when you saw me, within the first few seconds,
I judged you.
You judged
I was
me.
Like, she looks amazing.
You judged me. That's the truth.
Yes.
Based on how my hair looks, my face, earrings. Imagine if I came with one earring, and this one, I don't have one earring. And then I came with shoes that I'm struggling to walk in. And then I came with colors that you're thinking,
wait,
what is happening here? So that it is the unfair truth, but the world will judge you based on how you look. Then now when you open your mouth, you clarify. Say, oh, it's not that bad. She knows something, or she's okay. So, but before you talk, people have already judged you. So there are a lot of things that we look at in an interview. Then there is, in this PI formula, I've told you about the P, which is performance. 10% is the score. Is usually the allocation, how the contribution towards the success. Then the image is 30. 60%, you can imagine, is exposure. Meaning, what's the content in you? When you sit on that interview seat, for example, and we are interviewing for the banking industry, for example, because we are a bank, and you want to be the CEO of this particular bank. What is your level of exposure on matters banking? What can you say? What solutions do you have? What can you say you're bringing on board to this particular bank, probably to make it the top ranking bank in Kenya? And remember that exposure has to be beyond the region where you're operating. So when you sit there, you need to be able to bring the banking industry in the globe. What others are doing there, comparing to how Kenya is doing. How can you drive this bank to play in the global league, you know? So that's the level of exposure. And, you know, it comes from a lot of research, a lot of, you know, making sure that you're in touch and benchmarking with other banks outside there. So it's a level of exposure that really will contribute 60% in that equation. So you can see exposure contributes 60%, image 30. Then nitty-gritties of doing the job day to day is 10%. Unfortunately, some people will always focus on the running around of the day. So you say, as long as I'm a smart worker, it doesn't care how I look. It doesn't matter how much I know. No.
Well, because what does how I
it
look?
Matters.
What has it got to
Remember,
do? Grace, nimekuja hapa, niko na sandals zangu, my tracksuit, my hoodie, I'm in my corner. I'm doing exactly what you've told me to do.
Okay. All right, let me ask you. You've gone to the airport, you're boarding a plane to whatever country, and then you get there and realize that the captain has come with their pajamas. How comfortable will you
I'm
be?
not.
He's a captain, he's well trained, he's on the seat, but he came with his pajamas.
But Pia Zuckerberg has just ni billionaire.
He just decided he's in a hurry and he just wore his pajamas and he's like, I'll get you to where you're going. There's a level of confidence that comes with that captain dressing like the captain. And that is why when you see even the crew in that plane dressed in a certain way, what does it make you feel when they're attending to you looking all smart and telling you see, you're even smiling. Because there is something about how somebody dresses that gives you the confidence they can handle the job. If I'm employing you in a bank, for example, or whatever organization, as the head of a department or even an accountant, and you come with slippers, first and foremost, it just tells me you cannot handle yourself. Leave alone the mads that I was about to give you for the bank. You have not managed to handle yourself. You left and came in slippers. There is something about you that you have not put in order. So you're likely not to be able to put the mads of this bank in order. But if you come in a suit, all sorted up, it shows me that you have yourself, you're in charge of yourself first. Then I can even trust you with the mads. And that is why you see, how do people come to sell, even the people who sell to you, for example, insurance or said to you any other products, how do they come looking?
Yeah.
They want to make sure that first you buy into them, that you're even interested in the products they are selling. Because perception and image are a huge contributor. And then after that, you listen to me and then you find, wow, I actually understand what I'm talking about. And beyond that, I'm able to compare the industry I'm in with the same industry in another country around the globe. I'm able to see where should we be as a bank. This is where we should be playing. My level of exposure is very high. And be able to answer what questions and what solutions do you carry. You know, when I come to you, Lynn, what are those solutions that you have? What are the answers that you're able to provide? That is exposure. And that means you have put work into it. It's not just about papers. It's not about beyond the dressing and the papers. There is a lot that you carry as solutions.
Okay.
Yes.
So exposure can also be termed as experience. Is it the same thing?
It comes with experience. It comes with experience, but you have to put a little bit effort, you know, to go out of your way to make sure that you remain on top of things. Like if I tap you right now, Lynn, and ask you what is happening around the digital space, I'm sure you know, because you're in the digital space. Yes. You know what are the new trends, even what are the new equipments, how to make sure your show is, you know, you said you have over how many subscribers right now?
1.12.
Exactly. That has taken a lot of effort for you to get all those subscribers because you've been improving yourself on a day-to-day basis. How do you improve yourself? I'm sure you do a research. You're always doing a research of how can we do this? What are the new equipments in place? What talent do I need to bring on board? That was what we are saying. You're exposed. You are aware. You're every single morning you refresh yourself on what are the new trends. So even me in my career, I need to stay on top of things. Right now, I'll tell you, Lynn, I'm not comfortable being called a HR because HR is a bit old school. Lynn,
what are they called?
We have rebranded ourselves. We have new names.
To what?
People operations,
Hey.
people and culture,
Hey.
talent management, employee experience. So when you call me HR, you're taking me
HR
back.
Imeisha.
You're taking me back to those old days.
Talent manager,
talent management, people and culture, people operations, employee experience, and of course this has come with the what you're saying, exposure and wanting to do things differently and moving with the trends and what makes it work. Because I'm listening to you describing HR, probably we need to rebrand so that we stop calling us the old HR and the perceptions of the past.
So even you guys have to keep.
We have to keep rebranding and doing it in a new way, some freshness, some agility, what resonates with what is going on right now in the world and in the workplace.
Okay.
So if the HR, those days of the past was perceived as such, we are changing that perception.
All right.
Yes.
For the purpose of people to understand that we are still in the HR context, is it okay if I continue with HR? Okay. But I've nimeelewa. So you are telling me if you are hiring a presenter right now, the highest level of education I have is a diploma or what we rebrand and call associate degree. So there is like a degree somewhere. And say that those are my papers and say who can I use another? EJ can use another. Edwin comes in. Edwin has a PhD. I have my diploma. You are telling me at the end of the day you will judge us based on image and exposure and not these papers that we brought.
Only, no, we don't use papers only. All of them are importantly. Very important. But again, it's not dependent on just papers because I've seen instances where people say, this is my job. I have a degree. The rest don't have a degree. You know, I have a master's. The rest don't have a master's. But the part for papers is just a single contributor to the overall scoring matrix. So it's important, but it's not everything. Wow. And that is why for certain roles, you will see it's beyond papers. Papers are good. And the best thing about papers is that they can be acquired with time. But there are some certain attributes that are a must-have. They are just a must-have for certain roles. And that is why that PA formula is very, very important. I can get hired to a job just because of the way I articulate issues in that particular industry. I look like I know. And I know because of the way I've articulated my point. I've even shown them how I will come in and move the company from X to Y based on the information, the skills I have demonstrated very well. I have a diploma, but have articulated in a very clear way how I understand that industry and how I'm able to move certain elements from here to there. And on top of that, I came very smartly dressed. Then there's someone else who will come with a master's degree, but cannot answer key questions about this particular business. Now, as a hiring manager, even you, Lynn, wouldn't you hire this one who already has solutions and encourage them to grow their papers with time, even as they move with the solutions that they are bringing on board? So it's very important to create a balance. Papers are good, but they are not everything. So people need to also focus on continuously making sure that they are known for something. You know, someone will show up in an interview and in an instance, you can see the solution you are looking for because they are just oozing wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the particular sector, until later is when you're looking at their papers and you're thinking, oh, by the way, did he have a degree? And they're like, okay, he has started. Let's go with him. I'm sure he'll continue. He'll finish his degree with time because he understands the business and he seems to flow with what we are looking for. As opposed to somebody who just came, they have papers and they cannot articulate what you're looking for with clarity.
So you are saying you guys are not even biased towards like institutes, like if I come with my master's, I'm just going to use it as an example from Daystar, and another person comes with their master's from Karakuti Institute of whatever, you guys won't care, this is Daystar material and this is Karakuti. That doesn't...
To be honest, no.
Ata ya maju.
To be honest, let me tell you, before we even look, it is good you have a master's. Before we even go into the papers, how is the person? Remember, we are not hiring papers, Lynn. We are not hiring papers. We are hiring the talent seated in front of us. So that person needs to sell themselves to us first, convince us that they can do the job, convince us that they even understand what the job is all about, and they carry solutions that we are looking for. Then now, papers, you already tick the box that you had a master's. Now, master's from where really will come in as a secondary discussion. And remember, I started by telling you about we are moving towards inclusivity, you know, eliminating biases in the workplace. So it is important that you show that you have also considered somebody in Lodwar, in Somalia, whatever university outside there, as much as you're giving priority to people in Nairobi. That's a plus right now. You have to show inclusivity, diversity, and you know that you're not biased towards any particular institution. But before even you discuss the institution, the person coming to do the job, forget papers, needs to be able to sell themselves very well as a brand. You know, why should we hire you? What is that you're bringing on board? What are those things that you're going to come and bring, and how are they going to build our business? That is all we want to hear. Later then you can tell us I'm from Daystar, but if you're from Daystar, you're from wherever, and you're not able to support our business, that's not our priority. Okay.
Can I be disqualified because I'm overqualified? Like, if you does that make sense? Will you consider disqualifying me because I'm also overqualified?
It's a possibility.
In terms of pay, you've advertised role ya reception. May I have a PhD? Cha muhimu grace ni job. Ni pay job. You leave my PhD alone. I need this reception job. Will you disqualify me?
You may. Let me use the word, you may be disqualified because of certain factors. Remember, when we advertise this particular role, we define that it's probably level. Jobs have different grades. And so this particular job grade required somebody with this particular level of education. And if you come with a master's and you're able to demonstrate that you don't have a problem, because some people might come with the expectation that they wanted somebody with a diploma. I have come with a master's degree. So they will change a few things around this role to accommodate me with a master's as much as they had designed. Remember, when we come up with a role, Lynn, we also put a budget to it. And the roles that are there are also for that particular entry level. So if you come at a certain level and you say, maybe you expect that we are going to reorganize those roles to fit you.
And pay you more.
And it was not within our budget. Do you see why we can say you're overqualified? This is not the person we were looking for. The person we were looking for is someone who can take this particular budget and who understands this particular role. And even psychologically, they know they are coming to an entry level position, probably even with nobody reporting to them. Then the person who has come has said, I have a master, so they'll upgrade that position to suit me now and even make it even, it may not work that way. And so if you come with that master's and you're not able to fit within the defined role and job group, the roles, no reporting line. If you're able to fit in, then that's okay. And you demonstrate you have no issues, you're okay starting there as you grow, it's okay. The reason others will be disqualified is because they will want the role to be changed to suit them, which may not always be the case, because we had already defined what we are looking for, and this is our budget. So we are not able to adjust to suit you because of your masters.
Where does ego play? Where is it in the circle? Because I've also heard that the reason a HR will fear hiring an overqualified person, it's because they are also egocentric. So it might not align with the team spirit that you are trying to have in your company.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It might be a misfit. And if they take the job, they might not be comfortable. So their eyes will always be out, trying to get other opportunities that suit their profiles. And so when you have somebody who is not comfortable, you know, there's a job you can get. You have been looking for a job for the longest. You are just doing your diploma and you get a perfect role. You're like, this is for me. And so you're comfortable, you're delivering. Then someone with a master says, let me just take this one to start with. But they are not there. Their mind is not there. They are just there to pass time as they look for the one where they think they suit. And those are some of the things that we look at. We'll say, even if they take this job, not for long, they'll probably be here, but their mind and their eyes are all over looking for another job. Yet there's someone who is a perfect fit, such that if they get that job, they're excited, they're happy, they give it their all. That's all they have. So they give it their best. So it's possible to be a misfit for a role, even if you have more papers.
Okay. Yeah. Another one I had, I'm just seeking clarification. Is it true that most companies will hire C students to A students because A students are people pleasers, but C students are risk takers?
This perception. And let me tell you, it's not about A students and C students. Have you see that formula that I've given you? Performance, image, and exposure. You find that probably those A students are very good at performance. And that is why they are A students.
Yeah.
They are scoring the highest at performance, delivering the A. But now when you come to the image, iko shida. You come to the exposure part,
shida.
There is a problem. This particular C student is probably not very good at performance. But let me tell you, Lynn, that person will appear and show up. Even when they show up, you know they are there. And then when you ask them questions, they have all the confidence, they know the research, they have been researching day in, day out, they have the content. But now when it comes to the performance of day-to-day task is where probably they are not A. But in everything else, you're an A. So that is why behind the scenes, if you look at the details of that perception between an A and a C student, it is just that element of they probably believe in themselves more. They have the confidence. They have gone in and done the work in getting the matters and facts right and being exposed in that particular area, but they are not at the performance area, they are not able to deliver. So it's a balance. That is why you hear there's an A student. Yes, they are an A student, but at what? Performance. This other one is a C student, but they are only a C at performance. In everything else, exposure and image, they are A plus. Yeah. So they win because remember the contribution to exposure is 60%.
Yeah.
Image is 30. Combination of that is a 90 against a 10 on performance.
You are definitely hiring.
And you'll hear, that's why you'll hear people say, that person used to score an A in our class. By the way, ako happy. How mskiangi. So they were just good in class, probably. And even if you do your research, probably they were not very good with people. They were not the best in talking to people.
Walikuwa natunyima tu copy home. Why? Mbona mtu alikuwa anakaa na kitabu hivi?
Because when you exposed Lynn, it means even your people skills.
Kuulize. Kuna huyo mtu mlijua tu atakuokolea kwa class then anawafichia notes like
I'm telling you.
Why would someone do?
I am telling you, that is now outside here for asking wako.
And they are always prefects.
So now they realize,
and they always love the teachers
and they loved their so performance is 10. Then this exposure you find also has to do with how you relate with people. You're a people person, you know, when you're in a group, you're the one who makes the party. You're the life of the party. when you come to communication, you're very clear in how you communicate. If people want anything communicated, they choose you because you know how to articulate points. And then remember, you're showing up smart. And for you to articulate points, it means you've also done your research, so you have your facts right. Why wouldn't you win in this world? Yes. And that is what basically the world judges people first on.
But walitunyima notes, by the way. Why? Like, why? Actually, let me tell you, there's a time, do I want to say this?
But they helped you work hard.
No,
they didn't give you notes, but
yeah,
they helped you work
but was it worth you watching us being punished, the whole class? Ni mmebaki wawili kwa class. Sisi wengine 40 something we are being, you know, the running. There is no harsh punishment. Like you are atikimbia the whole school, upitia assembly, everyone is seeing you like, come on.
And maybe that's why we are keen to look out, where did they end up? You know, after all that, there's a keen focus on where are they. And we are looking for them so much. We can't find them because when you get out of the school world to the real world, the players are different. The players are a bit different.
Wow.
You don't walk on the street saying, by the way, I had an A in my high school. Does anyone even ask you on the streets, for example?
Who cares?
What did you score in high school? No. Nobody. Or what high school did you go to? You know, even the conversation of what campus are you in, now it will not play out. People are first sold out to you as a person and the solutions you carry before they can even go into the nitty-gritty. And Lynn, I'll even ask you right now, we have interacted, we're in a show with you right now. We are having a conversation. Do you know what papers I have?
No way.
Do you know how many PhDs, degrees, masters, certificates I have?
Dr. Grace.
You see?
And I'm here just calling you Grace.
But do you see what you're talking about? It's all about what you're known for, what you're good at. Then perhaps in the journey and conversation of you talking about it, it can come out clear that you have a degree, you have a master's, but it's not the number one conversation that people will have with you on the streets or when they're looking for business or when they're applying for those key jobs. It's first they buy into you, the intelligence you carry, the solutions you carry, you know.
Good.
Before the papers can come in. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I've hired the... Nini was good. The hiring period was amazing. Induction is here. They know who to report to. You know the ABCDs. But I've also noticed I messed up because I hired from emotions. I was so emotional. I saw someone. I'm like, oh, akona potential. They might not have the papers, but venye namwangalia and their story, their personal story, kuna opportunity hapa. This person akipewa two space, they will be okay. Or my friends were asking for opportunities and I'm like, kujani hapa tufanye kazi, let's work.
Bora kazi.
Bora kazi. Si mnajua, yes, we are friends, but there is work.
Then you realized, there is a problem.
Yes.
People are not even delivering what they say they could deliver. Now you're wondering what to do with them.
Yes, man.
You see where we come in as HR, we help you. We help you because as we hire, we make sure that everybody has a contract. That contract stipulates a few things, you know. First, we have even a probation clause in your contract that says that you're on probation for 3 months, 6 months. After that, you'll be confirmed. You know how that helps you? As you have said, you have hired. And then you realize the person is probably not meeting the expectations. But question is, if you had the hiring right, then the HR manager or the hiring manager must have ensured that people sign up with a clear job description. You know what we call a JD? A JD outlines your expectations on the role and what you expected to deliver. We even go further and come up with what we call a balance scorecard or a way of measuring performance.
Okay.
These are your KPIs,
yes.
Key performance indicators. Forget those stories zingine. At a bare minimum, this is what you need to deliver in this organization. And it is going to be measured every 3 months or every 6 months or every week, depending on the nature of the job. Because if in sales, those people track their sales on a daily basis. So their KPIs are measured on a daily basis. Other jobs, they'll do it monthly or quarterly after 3 months. But that is very, very important because it helps remove any form of subjectivity to performance discussions, and it makes sure it's very objective. Grace, this is what you expected to deliver. This is what you have delivered. Is it true or not?
Yes.
So there is no issue of being subjective. And then remember, at the very onset, I described to you in a JD what it is that this job entails, all the way from the interview to when you come in now and you have a JD and you signed, and your supervisor signed, what you have said, I can deliver. And remember also my contract has a probation clause of 3 months, 6 months. So that is a very good time for you to have a very honest conversation with you and the employee before confirmation that, do you think within the 3 months or the 6 months that you've worked with that employee, are you confident that they can deliver on the role? If it's a yes, then confirm them. If it's a no, then have a separation clause in your contract where it is very clear. Make sure the contract that, again, we give also has a separation or an exit clause that if we cannot work together, these are the terms of our separation. So that, in your case, the probation period comes into play. The person was hired to do this, but within the first few months, you have realized they can deliver, so we have to exit. And you leave each other very well. So you see, HR has helped in that case, because they have made sure there's proper documentation in the contract. There was a JD, all the terms were clear, even the KPIs. And so it's not a matter of saying, I don't like you. No, it's performance. You just didn't meet the expectations of the role on performance. And you exit and separate. We call it separation in a very amicable way. Yeah.
But what is my moral obligation? You are struggling. Like, I really want you to make it in life. And I have faith, maybe 3 months, ni kidogo, 6 months. Let's push it even to a year. What moral obligations do employers have?
No, it's okay.
Or are we not supposed to... Watu wanasemanga, don't mix business
and friendship.
And friendship.
It's very important. Because remember, we're in a very competitive space, Lynn. We're in a very competitive space. So meaning, even the talent we get and the performance, why everybody is showing up on that door of your office every morning is very important. So you can't afford to have someone who we are saying, we are trying, we are trying, we are trying. You're either meeting the targets or you're not meeting the targets. It's very clear. The relationship you have with your employer is not that one of friendship. And if you manage to get past the probation clause, meaning that you have satisfied the initial requirements of that job and you're confirmed, and then along the journey, your performance stops or rather changes. You used to perform very well and then there's a change. Then the employer can get into the business of wanting to know what has changed. It could even be a personal issue. Something in your personal space has happened. It could be a loss, or you're just going through a tough phase in your life. Now the employer will get involved. And that is why you see in the workspace, you have what you call a performance improvement program, which means Lynn was performing very well, but then this particular quarter, she has not performed well. Let's monitor her and find out what could be the issue. But again, that performance improvement program is time bound. You can't be on a performance improvement program for 1 year. Remember, the organization is also in business, so you have to be very fair. It is time bound. Let's support her based on what her need is and give her 6 months, observe, or 9 months, observe and see if there'll be a turnaround. The employer is not harsh. They give you time. So 6 months, you get all the support you need, the trainings you need. If it's a journey of loss you are going through, you get the support. And then it's agreed that in the next 6 or 9 months, you need to turn around. And you need to turn around. If you don't turn around now, it turns to another conversation of, warning letters, discussions with your supervisor, you're not performing,
short courses.
It's business, Lynn, yes.
Now, what happens if I had given you a 2-year contract, but I've noticed something is weird? Maybe you worked so hard during your probation period so that you can get the contract, which is also pensionable, right? So can I take my 2-year contract, nikupe ya 6 months?
You're talking
like naulizia watu
that is why I'm telling you, that is why the people department, HR, is very, very important, because they make sure that all those terms and conditions are outlined from the word go. By the day you get hired and you read your contract, it answers a lot of those questions, which means that, as you have said, we anticipate there could be issue of performance. And so that is why we have made sure we have put you on a probation period. And if it's a 2-year contract, it also stipulates how often shall we be reviewing performance. So if you get past probation, we continue with that particular contract. We have to support you. And remember, in our contract, we have stimulated what are the ways and instances that will require us to discuss separation or an exit. And the process is very well outlined. HR makes sure that all those gaps are well taken care of. So as the executive, you don't have to worry. So, and there are so many ways of separation, as I've said. One is at probation. So you got a probation, you didn't perform, so we released you. And we didn't confirm you to the role. If we confirm you to the role, and then our gaps come up along the journey, there's a process of managing the process where we sit down with you, identify what could be the issue, we put you on that performance improvement program, also put a timeline to it, review. The best thing and the advantage of 1 year and 2 year contracts, it means that if we still put you on a performance improvement program and you're not changing, when the 2 year contract lapses, we won't renew it. We just start hiring. We can already see you're not going far with Lynn. So based on what we have written in your contract, we will alert you within maybe 3 months. It's even written in your contract. If you have no intentions of proceeding with this particular contract, we'll give you a 3 months notice. So we'll give you a 3 months notice and tell you, I know your contract is lapsing at this time, but at this particular time, we are giving you a notice that we will not renew, so that you also start managing your exit as we manage the process of having someone else to come in. So even having those short-term contracts is very good. There are organizations that are going towards those short-term contracts so that you manage performance issues and avoid getting into cases. Yes.
So now I'm taking my 2 year contract and giving you a 1 year contract.
No, you have to be fair. Remember, you have to use the what was written on that 2 year contract. What was the separation? If it said that you give me a 3 months notice, you have to give me a 3 months notice. Just don't wake up one day and decide. It is very important. Every particular engagement you get to, define how you get into it and how you get out of it.
Okay.
So that should be very well outlined, and different organizations will have different exit clauses.
Okay. And in instances where corporates will hire someone for a role and that role is no longer relevant, maybe I hired someone to make the coffee, now I've got a coffee machine. What do I do? And you had already given them, say for example, a 2 year contract. What do you do?
It's possible. It's declared. It's called redundancy. So that is also clear, and it's provided for in the law on how to go through the process of redundancy. You have to declare, meaning you also communicate to the employee. You tell them, Lynn, I know we had you as a tea person, but now technology has come probably, and we have a tea machine that is going to be preparing tea for us. And in that case, your role is being declared redundant. So already you have communicated. Now the next steps after redundancy could be Lynn. However, we have other open roles in this organization which you can apply for or which we are considering you for. Then the conversation continues towards that direction. But if you're releasing the person, then make sure you release them according to the law, what the law requires. What do you owe them? What do you need to give them? Do it properly. It's allowed to release people on redundancy because if you can't afford it or if the role is no longer there, it's just the changing times that we are working with.
Okay. Haya, tumemaliza hiyo part. Tumeingia kampuni, kila mtu na characters zake. Huyu ni introvert, extrovert, huyu ni pervert. You have a senior boss there telling you, for me to promote you, nipe. And if you don't, they will not get a promotion. What do I do?
Now, that is why I said from the onset. You remember me telling you that when you're setting up any particular organizations, you have the HR come on board and put policies in place that will govern how people work. Because every time you have people together, all those things you're saying are bound to happen. So it's expected, it's anticipated. But for the company to be ready for it, they make sure they have policies. That's HR policy and procedure manual is very important, and people have to read it. And inside that policy, for example, there's what we call a sexual harassment policy inside it. It's part of our HR policy that says, in case of a sexual harassment incident, this is what you should do. What do we entertain? What do we not entertain? Because it helps sheds clarity when that particular instance happens. Personality, diverse personalities in the workplace are very good. In fact, they are very much welcome. Imagine if we were all introverted or extroverted, sanguines. Some things will not happen. We need that balance. But again, what creates the balance is to just make sure the balance is in check. And a lot of things that help organizations have that in check, besides the policy and procedures, is just understanding, even profiling roles according to even personality. Such a refine, maybe a sanguine is just okay selling. You know, that's their happy place and things get done. And then all those introverted people, you'll find them probably they're even in those roles like finance, where a lot of concentration is required. So that balance is really very, very important. But to make sure there is order in the house, please make sure everything is documented in a policy. These organizations does not tolerate this. This is how we handle this, so that if somebody comes and reports to me as a HR person that they were sexually harassed by the boss, we together refer to the policy. What does it say on sexual harassment? And we follow policy all the way.
Okay.
Make sure you have your policies in place.
But you as a HR, can I assume the CEO earns more than you?
It's
Can
possible.
I assume there are also senior people who earn more than you?
It's possible.
Which makes them your boss,
Yes.
your boss.
Yes.
Indirectly.
Yes.
Sasa mimi huko chini nakuja kureport CEO kwako. What are the chances you will even be on my side? I am coming to report your boss to you. What are the chances this HR is going to be on my side?
By the way, Lynn, HR is usually on both sides. It supports the company. Oh, yes. If you have the perception that HR is only for the company.
Niko na perception.
Okay, you and others have the perception. You and a few others have the perception that HR.
We were just chilling.
It's a perception. No, HR, and that is why I like it when it's called the People Operations Department.
Yes.
Takes care of the person and the organization. I promise you, Lynn. I mean, why then are we are paying you? Are we not paying you? We are taking care. We are making sure you have a very comfortable environment to work in. We're even sending you for staff engagement functions, take care of your wellness. We have even probably paid a gym for you.
Yes.
We have even provided lunch. Yes. Hey. We have even provided branded, for example, a very nice shirt for you to wear to work.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that just we do. We even provide talks for your mental wellness, financial planning. Those are things that are happening in the workplace. Okay. Yes. We have even provided a place for you to go lactating room for mothers.
For mothers.
So are we together up to there? That we are for you. We are not against you. And when you came on board, we made sure that we have given you a contract.
Yes.
A contract gives you peace of mind because you know what business you're getting into with the employer. So up to there, I'm for you.
Yes.
I have given you a very comfortable desk and a laptop, what you need to deliver. At times, I'll even give you some fuel to go and sell for the business, for example. I'll even give you airtime to go and sell for the business. I'm taking care of you.
Okay.
Then I've provided lunch. I've provided tea in the office. I'm sending you for training.
Okay.
Learning and development.
You are for me up to there.
I'm for you.
Yes.
But I am also for the organization to make sure first and foremost it's not exposed. It doesn't even get to labor litigation issues. You know, an employee has taken the company to labor because that's loss of revenue. Their cases are time consuming and money consuming. So I'm there to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I am there also to make sure that the employer gets the best out of the most important assets, the people, through managing that particular performance management process. So it's a balance. Now, in such a case where you come and report to me that you're being harassed, I will definitely listen and apply policy in terms of what happens with a sexual harassment with a lot of caution and with a lot of wisdom. First and foremost, not to make it the business of the entire company. You know, you have to handle it with the confidentiality it deserves. And of course, is it somebody you're interacting with a lot? How is it that I can make sure, for example, even I give you a different work environment, different from this particular person? It could be that this is even your direct reporting manager or is not your reporting manager. Once I understand how I can help you, then I will work to help you. I could even move you from this branch, Lynn, and take you to another branch. I have helped you. You know, that's a step.
That is
towards
true.
Making sure you're not sexually harassed by that person. Because if they are senior and they have a certain role, and maybe you're assuming you're not as senior as the person, it's possible that if we have other branches, I could move you, get a way of creating your role on that other side, to make sure that you are away from this particular person. I have helped you.
That is okay.
I have not interfered with the boss.
I'm still waiting for the part where you take the CEO to disciplinary.
Oh,
I'm still waiting for the part you call the CEO.
You know, there are many ways of solving an issue or killing a rat. If I have moved you, if I have moved you from that particular place.
Why not move the CEO? Why are you moving me? I'm comfortable here. I don't want to move.
You say there are so many ways of helping this particular situation balance.
But
now
Grace,
remember,
I'm okay here. I don't want to go to another branch. I don't want to leave my desk. I don't want to leave this company. I will stay here. Me, I want to watch you deal with the CEO.
I'll be able to establish first, is it sexual harassment? You know, there are always two sides to the story.
Yes.
So you'll report it to me. And of course, there are procedures guided by the policy to understand, was it sexual harassment?
We've established
it was there.
Yes.
And we do have a role to play in it.
It was not consensual.
It was not consensual.
Nilikuwa napita kanigonga matako. What am I supposed to do?
I see what you're saying. So in such a case, the policy, by the way, very well clearly describes how that happens. How I communicate it to the CEO, by the way, matters a lot. And that is where even wisdom and the benefit of doubt has to be given to a lot of HR, because of what we have to deal with behind the scenes. Because managing that particular situation is not easy, and it needs to be approached with a lot of wisdom, and make sure that you communicate it very well, because at the end of it all, as a HR, you're also there to support the CEO in discharging his roles. So you can make sure under what circumstances were you being hit, for example. Was it at the lifts? So you try and work on that environment of making sure it's possible. Not all things are attacked. I go into the office and tell you, no, you're doing stuff. No, there are many ways of achieving the result in this particular issue. You can, for example, who is the closest? You know, the CEOs also have at senior level, at the executive level, they do have people who they really relate well at that level. So it's good for you to also observe and say, you know, you have established it has happened. At that level, it's good to establish who does he listen to. Everybody in the organization has somebody that they listen to. Not necessarily somebody they report to. You can be reporting to me, Lynn, but you don't listen to me. We can't talk. We can have a conversation. And remember, these are very many approaches to it. It could be that even the CEO sort of listens to me as a HR. So I can have that conversation by maybe taking him out not in a formal setup first, to hear the side of the story of how it occurred and paint a picture of how that is against the policy. Because at times, let me tell you, at times it's not what it is perceived. So we come in to make sure that we create an awareness and leave people better. So I'll start by first establishing that you have said you have established it actually happened.
Niko na ama si basi kugongwa, niko na messages. Ndio huyu hata ameshaniambia nisipompea, I will not work in this company.
Yes, then in that case, he's subject to the policies of the particular organization, followed by the right procedure, because your disciplinary process, maybe at your level, is not the same way for the CEO would be. So we will follow the proper disciplinary process.
Privilege.
You have to make sure you're taking care of it. And that is why even when a CEO at times, you'll see a CEO has been sent on compulsory leave, has resigned. At times behind the scenes, it could be something different internally, but you don't want to say has been fired. You get? So the packaging is also different.
So we are actually saying CEOs, like, level of disciplinary is a bit
privileged. It's managed in a different level than how you manage a different level. Because remember, at that level, you're also taking care of a lot of things, including the image of that particular organization. Because there's some aspects of a CEO that can go out there and the organization starts taking a very negative trajectory. It's managing the brand of the company, because at the CEO level, you're also a brand in that particular organization. So you take care, you use wisdom on the approach that you're going to use to achieve that particular disciplinary process, and make sure policy at the end of the day is followed. Yeah, so it's very, very important.
You stand no chance.
See, after we discipline the CEOs, we have taken care of you.
Mfuteni kazi.
Yes. See, now the process will continue.
You can fire your boss, Grace, the one who is paying.
It's not me. It is the policy. It is not me who has fired. By the way, Lynn, let me tell you something. Maybe it's another misconception.
Yes.
It's not the HR that fires. It's not the HR that fires.
It's the policy.
It is your supervisor. Or the person to who you report to. By the time you're being brought to me to fire, I am managing the firing process. Keyword is I am managing the
firing process.
Yes, but by the time you come and say that this staff who works with me is not delivering, you're the one who's firing the person. It is not me. I'm just helping you manage the just process. Like the hiring process. I'm the hiring manager. But who is hiring? It's that department that needs a person.
Yes.
That is the person who needs the hiring manager. Is the one who has come and said to me,
yes,
I need this particular resource. Please help me resource. So my work is to resource. Yes. But you're the hiring manager. So when you say our work is to hire and fire,
it's
we
wrong.
are managing the process to make sure that it's
I was
executed.
fired a long time ago.
My friends, your boss has been telling you things you're not listening. your results are not being seen.
Your performance is not it.
Exactly. Because your boss is the one who is able to manage your performance. They say, are you delivering? And that is why when someone, for example, resigns, you hear someone say, oh, that was my best, you know. Because your manager knows who are his or her best people in that particular, and then who are the ones who are just the baggage, they're not doing it. So by the time the manager comes to HR, they've told us, by the way, Harper, it's not working. Please help me manage
the situation.
So me, I'm coming to help the process and manage the process well, but I'm not the one firing. So I needed to clear that on. Even the hiring. I'm just supporting the organization to achieve the people talent that they need in the organization. They've already determined the people they need. I'm coming to help them resource people.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then there are instances where there are some employees who are very good at going to HR. They skip the supervisor, the manager, straight kwa HR.
to report their supervisor.
Yes.
But in that case, we also need to establish why is it that they can't approach you. It could be that even you as a supervisor, you're unapproachable.
You have a problem.
You can't be told anything.
Yes.
So there are two ways of always looking at a coin. So if you have decided to come to the HR, it could be that you're a very unapproachable person. Or in that case, maybe you're very tough, you don't take feedback. And there are very many ways. Today, time has evolved, so we have a lot of surveys and mechanisms to collect feedback that is 360. It's gone are the days where you don't get feedback from the supervisor. It's one way. Now we have ways of getting feedback that is all round, so that you'll be able to know what sort of supervisors are you also having, so that then you know how can you help them. Maybe it's just the way they present themselves, they're unapproachable, and that person has no other person to go to apart from HR. So you can even decide, let's take this department for a team building. Let them get to know each other. Put them on a bus or SGR to Mombasa and make sure there are fun activities inside there. Even that supervisor, people will get to know, by the way, this is how they like it. Maybe this is how I should approach them. It's their personality. Then you'll see certain trends in that department starting to change. They used to fear their supervisor. They used to escalate all the time to you. Now they're able to manage it within their department. And if the supervisor needs some growth, some initiatives to help them become a better person, you help them. You can help them. You realize maybe they're not people person, they're not able to take feedback, they don't know how to communicate. Identify those gaps and help them become a better person. Because leading people is also not easy. It's an uphill task. Leading people is not a joke. It needs continuous support, learning, relearning, unlearning. You know,
see what you did.
I know. Just to know what are the people in my team dynamics. This particular one is an introvert, this one is extroverted, this one is a D. You know, there are certain characters that we say this one is a D, this one is an I. How do I all of them manage to work with all of them?
And in instances where you'll find employees who certainly groom their boss. Like I know Grace is a good person, so I'll go there, tell Grace my problems, because I know at the end of the day, Grace atanipea ka kitu. How should you relate in such instances?
So remember, at the end of the day, it's about work. You know what I like about workplaces? Everybody needs to have clear KPIs and what is expected of you. So come to me, uniambie stories zote, whatever it is you want to tell me. By the end of the day, what is the work that you need to do? Because you have KPIs. It's promotion won't come from stories. Even when you come to me as a HR, I don't ask, I won't ask, oh, by the way, who have you been bonding with most? We won't use that to promote you. We want to see performance. And that is why it's very, very, you cannot underplay the role that performance management does in an organization. It helps clarify a lot of things, that it is not because you're from a certain tribe that you're getting promoted. It is not because you know who in that particular organization. It's not because who is your relative or when you have clear KPI set from the beginning and how they are being monitored and how they are being measured. Even when promotion comes, you're able to be very, very objective and provide evidence why so and so is the best suited person for that promotion and not this one. So reporting to your boss all the time with stories, it's good. It's good to build a rapport. It's good to build relationships. But when all that is said and done, please get to your desk and deliver results. That's so important. Because remember, there is an organization and there is you without your boss. That boss can be changed tomorrow. You won't have to, you have to now start stories with the next boss. You need your work to speak for itself as a person, minus the current boss or with another boss. You know, you remain, you need to be a performer.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. After all is said and done, when would be the right time to increase someone's salary, promote them? When would be the right time now to do that?
If you can do it every day, it's okay. With every change of tax and everything, if it's possible, you can do it.
Yes.
However, every organization has it documented in their policy. Salary increments happen every year, annually, and they will indicate there that it's inflation, performance, what contributes to your salary increment. So it is very important, and it is very safe for you to do that. Otherwise, people will be coming every day and telling you, now chief has come, it's taken my money, increased my money, housing levy has come, it's taken my money. I think I'm working too hard. This month I have worked so hard, please increase my salary, which will not be possible. So what you do is that every company has a policy on when a salary increment done. What are the factors that are considered towards salary increment? Is it inflation? What amount is inflation? What amount is performance and all that? However, you find that because of the nature of the job you're in, organizations will put in some motivation factors in the month. They will recognize the best employee of the month, team player of the year, just to make sure that even as you wait for that one time, 1 year increment, in between, people are still motivated and they are getting tokens. So employee of the year, here is your token, you met your budgets, here is your token. And all that should be defined so that then when it's done, it doesn't bring a lot of commotion.
So it's
people
not just impromptu, it should be defined.
Yeah, you're going for Christmas, here is a Christmas voucher.
Okay.
Some small things in between that organizations may use to keep the employee motivated and appreciated also.
I want to go to firing or quitting or resigning, but I forgot a very important part. When hiring, reference, does it really, me, you know, kuna saa nilishawekanga sistangu reference. The only things weki ni jina Ngugi, but I'm there with Millicent to Anjiku.
But it's your sister.
So how important is that?
It's important for you to choose your referees very well and make sure you brief them, Lynn. I've seen people who put people as their referees and you don't brief them. So they don't know that they are appearing as a referee in your CV. So the day they are called, they're wondering, who? Which one? They ask so many questions until you give up. Like, are you sure you know this person? So if, for example, I am applying for a job and I put my lecturer at campus as a referee, I need to at least give the person a heads up. By the way, I've put you in my CV as a referee. And how you put someone as a referee, it's definitely someone who has walked with you this journey of life, be it career, social space. They know something about you that they can put in a good word for you. So it's important for you to keep checking with your referees, so that also their contacts are accurate. At times you come and see, you call the number and the person is mteja. Because you're not in touch with the person, you're not speaking to them so that you know what they update and in your CV. Or you send them an email and you're told this email is no longer in use. So if you put a referee, it's okay, it's your sister. It could be, you know, people work with their sisters. It's possible that they have something to say about you, even in the professional space. But let them know. It's very important, and have the updated contacts there so that if we reach out to them, then they are reachable. But let me say this. Beyond the referees that you have put on the CV, there is the references that we also do. Because we know that everyone you have put there is likely to say a very good word about you. No one will say something that is not good about you. But we have our own ways of doing our own background references. So you find we can engage a background reference organization. We can go back to an organization you said you worked with, and maybe we know somebody in the HR department. You've not put them in there as one of your referees, but we decide to ask them about you. So beyond the referees you put in your CV, be open to that there are other background checks that are happening about you that you may not be aware about.
So you guys do like crazy background. Someone can pass image, exposure, papers, or nini, but they are serial killers somewhere.
It's possible. And that is why you see when some background checks will go to your social media pages, Lynn. You will be on your LinkedIn first to confirm you exist. And that is why it also matters what are your social media pages saying about you? Are they reflecting the person you are? It's very important. And all that now goes into a certain topic called personal branding, where you make sure that what are you known for? What do you want to be known for? And you make sure that that is a message that you constantly pass, be it on your social media pages, be it how you dress, how you talk to people, you're consistent. Because employers are also looking for that consistency. So we actually do a lot of buffet checks. We are not just relying on your CV, we are checking on, we may go to your social media pages, engage a background check firm to do for us, and also call organizations where you used to work, talk to their HR and ask them what they have to say about you looking at your files. Okay. So it's a whole buffet, it's a concoction of references being done. Yeah.
All right. And now back to performance. What if the reason maybe someone is not meeting their KPIs, maybe this person is suffering from addiction, this person is an alcoholic, this person, and I've also had there instances where you can't fire someone because they are alcoholics. Is that true?
Yeah, yes, you should you support them. Yeah, that's why we have staff wellness programs.
So how do you support if you don't have a rehab?
You partner with one. So you find every organization will have, or even if they don't have, they are working with a staff wellness program somewhere. So you find that if you identify, and that is why I'm saying, we are for you, Lynn. You say we are for you. That one is we are for you. We are supporting you as an employee. Yeah. So if you realize that the issue, the reason why you're not performing is probably because you're going through substance abuse, we need to help you out of it. Then we are going to, either we have, the organizations that are big enough, they have their own counselors and wellness teams that will help you with that. Others will work with their outsourced. So we are going to support you through that journey. Okay. And make sure that your job is still there. You don't have to worry as you recover. And then we support you through the journey. With us, of course, with the guidance of that expert on how your response, you need to cooperate.
Okay. So as I'm outsourcing, the expert, is it okay if I'm to pay 100,000? Is it okay if the company pays 50 and I cut 50 from your salary?
It depends on the plan of that organization. Every company has a different policy and a different financial muscle. So you find the organizations that are able to take care of your particular expenses. Others have it within their medical cover. So that's that their medical cover allows them to seek that rehabilitation, mental, if it's a mental illness situation, it's within their mental cover. So that is the employer taking care of it because they are the ones who are provided the mental cover. Okay. Yeah, so you'll find that it is not dictated that this is the way it should be done. Different organizations will do it differently based on what they are able to take, what they are not able to take, and probably even allow you go through the entire program and discuss the pricing later. Okay. You get?
So are there instances where as an employer, I'm okay to touch your salary because I want you to advance in where I can't pay for these trainings, I can't do all these things. Is it okay if we meet each other halfway?
Unless it was well
in the policy.
Defined in the policy and you are aware from the word go that in this particular organization, they take you for trainings, and if they take you for trainings, 30% is
from your salary.
And you have consent. That's why every policy has a place that says, I have read, understood, and hereby sign. Yeah. Meaning I agree. So most of those things, you're not being surprised. You're not waking up in the morning and you're being surprised. You're aware that we take care of you this percent and you take care of this percent. Okay. So it's not coming as a surprise. All right. And it's very important because where someone's money is concerned, proper planning
has to be done. Yeah. But it seems the HR team is taking care of everyone. Who takes care of you?
Good question. That's a very good question.
Who takes care of you guys?
Dealing with people is not easy. And so as a person, you have to really be very, very intentional in just making sure that you take care of yourself intentionally. As much as we can say that there are programs in place for HRs, by the way, to just make sure that they are well refreshed. So you'll find that there are certain courses that will teach you mediation. because our job, a lot of it can have to do with the mediation, you know, just in making sure that everybody is at peace with the other person. Even what we go through in school prepares you that this is the environment in which you're getting yourself into, and you need these places. And that is why, as a HR person, you must be able to get a way that is unique to you, that you used to, you know, replenish yourself, to unwind. At least at times, once a while, there is leave. And what you do with that leave also really, really matters. So if you feel that once in a while you also need to talk to somebody, it is very important. Because when you take in so much, it's only important that you also get away of, you know, just unwinding and getting a freshness out of everything. So it's very, very important. But it's unique. You can say that this is the way HR should take care of themselves. It's unique to everybody. What works for you? How do you unwind? How do you refresh yourself? If most of the time you find that we want to go to courses that give us more muscle and more insights on how to handle people. So you'll go and take a course in, for example, conflict management. It just gives you a lot of wisdom. And the best thing is that, and I believe that for most HR professions, is more of a passion. It's a calling. So it's not just, you're not just doing HR because you studied HR, but it's more of a calling, something you're passionate about, meaning you're not struggling. And so when you take those courses like conflict management, mediation courses, they really help you really get better and better in listening to conflict without it really weighing you down. And if you feel it's weighing you down, then you know how to unwind and refresh. Yeah, but it's important for every HR person to take care of themselves.
Because there's that perception that without you knowing, you are the most hated in an organization. Without your knowledge,
without knowing,
people talk about you, they discuss, they don't like you at all. But in your presence, they smile, they please you because they think you're the one who is bound to get them fired.
In fact, we say that HR is a thankless, very thankless role. It's not that role where you wake up in the morning and you expect people to tell you, thank you, we are happy, you have done as well. You know, as much as you're putting in all the effort, in your head, don't put an expectation of thank you, boss, thank you, no. Because meeting people's expectations is extremely hard. And it's because they are a myriad, you know, buffet of expectations from everybody. Can you imagine if you have a workforce of 1,000 people in that organization? You know, that equals to 1,000 expectations. No, you cannot please everybody. And so that is why you find that as HR, we try to make sure that we work within policy. Policy may not favor everybody. It may not make everybody happy. It may make you be hated, as you're saying, but at the end of the day, you're just making sure that things are flowing in a certain order and we avoid a lot of conflicts. So be, as a HR person, first and foremost, have that expectation that you will not be loved. Once in a while, you'll be loved when things are good. Everyone is smiling all the way to the bank. You have motivated people with a bonus. You have come up with a gym. By the way, they will say, thank you for the gym. They'll enjoy the gym and then say, by the way, we don't have, you get, they quickly move on to what they don't have. You know, we have a lactating room now, but we want this. So it's a continuous increase and demand for needs and wants, which is understandable because there are so many people in that environment and you can't make everybody happy. So we have to, by the way, we are comfortable with the fact that our role is a bit thankless, that we are not waking up every morning expecting everybody to be patting us on the back. Well done. So it's okay. It's every job and its own choices have consequences. You chose HR, these are the consequences.
I hope Akina Valerie and Mutange feel they are loved. But on the salary, something I wanted to ask, why is it Kenya we have a culture of paying monthly and not hourly? Because simi niingie masaa yangu ine nifanye kazi unilipe masaa yangu ine. Why do you have to pay me per month?
It's possible. There are people who are being paid per hour.
Here.
You're the one who chose a job that pays monthly. Choices have consequences. There are people that are being paid per hour. Yes, there are people who are being paid daily. It's just that you chose a job
that pays
the terms and conditions is that it's paying monthly. But if you want those ones who are being paid daily, they are there. And some of them
per hour.
But you have to choose that one. Whatever you choose, you follow by how they pay, but they are there. And if you really must be paid per hour, then at times you may find that you want to go into consultancy.
For the per hour.
You might go to consultancy because most of the time people pay for results. So are you able to give results in an hour? Are you in a position to give results? You get? So that is why they are casuals. They are casuals who are paid every day. Yeah,
Freelance.
So yeah, freelance. And a consultant is paid, they charge per hour. And then now there's what we call us who are on contract. You're paid per month. Because there also has to be an orderly way of paying. There are people who are selling and they're being paid on commission per day. I bring business, you give me commission. So it's a choice. Yeah. So if you really want to generate income per day, then you might need to change your career or choose a different career. Yeah, but it's there. Options are there. Yeah.
And on roles where nimewekewa KPIs zangu sijui ni 5 watt per month, but my role is very, technical, a lot of research. I find myself just achieving one, but I gave it my all. I researched, I did everything I needed to do, and I gave out the best work, but najajiwa huku sija deliver.
So that case, it's a misalignment of goals and KPIs and objectives. And that is why it's very important to have a very objective KPI. It needs to be well discussed, because you cannot just give KPIs for the sake of giving KPIs. They really need to resonate with the work that the person is doing. Yeah, so that is more of an alignment. And that is why HR, again, we are very important to make sure that the KPIs for each employee align with their role.
Okay.
Just don't measure me at 5,000, you need to bring 5,000 per day, yet I'm the person seated at the reception, for example. My KPI should resonate about how I make that customer who is bringing the money feel comfortable and appreciated for them to even come and bring back business. So KPIs needs to be per role. Not generalized and very objective, measurable. SMART? Yes. And that is our work, to work with the department heads to make sure that every person's KPI is SMART.
Okay.
So it's possible to make sure that everybody's KPI resonates with their role. Yeah.
Great. And now I joined this company. I'm happy I've done my part. What would be the wrong way to resign and the right way to resign? Because me naweza ambia chukweni kazi yenu, hata some people also don't just show up. They wait for you to pay them the last month and then they don't show up at all. Then wengine they wait for their last month na wana resign na attitude. Chukweni kazi yenu hata ikunisaidia.
It's true, Lynn. However, remember that we are living in a world where, first and foremost, the world, as people say, it's a dot. And it's around, we will meet again. And also, the end of a matter is even more important than the beginning of a matter. And you don't burn bridges. And then again, you don't have control over what people do to you, but you have control over how you respond. So you have to be the bigger person. It could be that you're leaving that organization in a very disgruntled manner. But then, remember that there is Lynn the professional, and how you want to be remembered, and how you want to leave people feeling about you, and how you're taking care of your future, because people will always define you based on how you left them feeling and the experiences they've had about you. So as you're exiting an organization, it's very important to take care of the brand that you are. It doesn't matter how they made you feel. It's okay. And you have made a decision to leave anyway. So you might as well leave well. And of course, there is a procedure that is always outlined that I have made a decision to leave. It's advisable that when you make a decision to leave, have that discussion with your supervisor. Because again, remember I said that's a hiring manager. They're the ones who hired you. They even trusted you with the opportunity to do the job. Say, I think it's that time. Everything that has a beginning has an end, and mine has come. I feel it's time for me to transition to something else. It has been great working with you, and now follow the policy of your contract. Is it 30 days notice? Is it 3 months notice? Serve the notice, and then let the company take the process of getting you the person to hand over to. They'll tell you who you need to hand over to. I know you might be you're leaving because of you're feeling quite aggrieved, but it's good to remain.
Toxic environment.
But you have made a decision to leave, so it's okay. You'll be fine. So just manage this notice period well and leave amicably, because most of the time, some of the things is we'll meet outside there. So don't talk badly about people. Don't make sure that there's a lot of noise. Fall the chairs, fall the tables on your way out. Just live well and take care of the professional that you are, Make sure at the end of the day you're a professional. Just live well professionally and just move on to the next assignment.
Okay.
And I'm sure you learned something in that toxic environment. So be grateful for that particular one and look forward to better things where you're going. Yeah, but follow the policy on what it says. Make sure you leave the company feeling that you have handed over well and move on.
And in instances where I'm going to be fired, and being fired means I won't enjoy my benefits, because again in the policy, if you're fired, you get this, but if you resign, you get full benefits. You as a HR unaweza niita kando uniambie tu, you're about to be fired, so just resign now.
It's possible in those instances, especially if you're going through the disciplinary process. You've gotten a PIP, performance hasn't improved, you've gotten a first warning, second warning, maybe the company even has a third warning policy, and there is no improvement. You don't have to subject yourself to a disciplinary process, because remember, all these things will come back to your file. And then later a HR will be called and checking into your file. How did they exit disciplinary process? And then they were released. It looks a bit untidy and ugly. So if you, even without being told by a HR, you see you're already going to the second warning, third warning there. So you know the next invite coming is for a disciplinary hearing.
Resign.
It is a good way to see, you can already see the end. It is a good way to tender in a resignation. And so that then it was a resignation. It was not a summary dismissal. You are not fired. So that you don't have those ugly comments in your file. Yes. Okay. So it's possible, and the best thing that is that you can see it coming, because most companies have procedures. So it starts with, as I've said, your performance is wanting. They have tried everything they can, 7 months, 9 months, no turnaround, you got a first warning. No turnaround, you got a second warning. Still you can no turnaround. You are going home. And maybe the company has put in all measures, all interventions possible to support you, even if you agree. They've taken you for training, they've taken anything possible. They've even changed the supervisor, they've changed your working place, they've changed everything. So it's a good time also you to call yourself for a meeting, Lynn. And say, maybe even you're in the wrong career, you know, it's also possible. Maybe you're trying to swim and you're not a fish, you know.
Okay. And also, in the 1 month notice, what if I decide siwafanyi kazi, I go slow-mo on work?
You're not going to work at all.
No, I can work, but I'll give you guys the basics.
It's okay. I mean, that is how you want it.
That's how you want your
that's what I'm saying.
Reputation.
That is how you want your reputation, because maybe you're just pushing a day at a time. That's what I'm saying. You're already at the finishing phase. Why don't you just finish and leave? Because you're leaving anyway. But now it's expected that you will not have the same energy as if you have not resigned. So it's expected, but at least have the courtesy to make sure that you're handing over. As it should be happening. But in terms of energy levels, it's expected. You'll not be enthusiastic, energetic, you know, attending all the meetings. You know, even you'll be like, where am I part of meetings that
I'm not going to be part of in a month's time.
So some of these things are expected, but make sure you do them in a professional way. It's okay to say, I'll not manage to join that meeting, as opposed to just not showing up, you know. And if someone else is going to that meeting on your behalf, because maybe you've handed over to them, it's okay to make sure you support them with all the information they need for that meeting. So it's how you do it. Otherwise, some of those things are expected, which is true. It's natural.
And finally, maybe on instances where an employee dies, we've seen HRs advertising the role the next day. Mpaka watu wanashindwa. I saw somewhere their people died and there is a role being advertised. Kwani, how heartless? Like, what happens? Like,
was it advertised the next day? It's a perception. The date?
No, it is actually. It is actually
the same date that
someone died today. Even before they are buried, their company has already advertised the role.
My goodness. Let me say that is something that can be done better. However, having somebody acting on the role is not wrong, Lynn, because remember, work must go on. Yeah? So, you're not there. So let's have somebody picking up, even as we support you and the family in the transition process. Because Lynn, what do you want with the job? One thing for sure is that you have left us. You're not going to be with us. And the work will need to continue. And that is why most organizations have a succession plan.
Oh, there is that?
Yes, succession planning. That if Lynn is not there, who else can do the role that Lynn was doing?
That one.
That one is in almost every organization. And the purpose of that is to ensure that there is business continuity in the event that Lynn is not there. And it might not just be death. it could be that you had an accident, God forbid, on your way to work, and it's led to you being admitted and you have to be away from work for 90 days. Who else can do the job when you're not there? So HR professionals, again, are required to ensure that there is succession planning for each and every key role, such that business does not stop. That is why if you pass on, then the person who is next, who was being raised to that position, steps in so that business does not stop. The part that can be done better is advertising the role, Lynn, because there are many ways of looking or filling that position without really putting it out there that this one has died, we are replacing them. That definitely
is wrong.
As HR professionals, we can do better. It is not human. The H part in the HR there is missing. It can be done better. And remember, there is already someone acting on the role, so there is no gap per se. Yeah, so that can be done better, for sure.
And how do you support the family of the deceased? And also, of course, in a working environment, they were friends with some of the colleagues. How do you support that transition?
The best thing is that in our African setup, there's just a lot of support that comes with that, even without people being forced. Yeah, you realize we like that particular support, so you don't struggle with it. People willingly, but now as a company, it's good to also make sure that you have well outlined ways of supporting the person. That is why you'll find people have been put on a medical cover. A medical cover has a last expense benefit. Last expense means that in case you die, there's a certain amount. Then we have a group life cover again that covers you in the instance of deaths. And then you find that there's a staff welfare kitty at times where if you die, some staff, again, when you come on board, you'll be told what staff welfare programs are there. Some you're deducted, maybe a certain amount of money, but in case you get a baby, some amount is sent to you. In case you have a wedding, some amount is sent to you. In case you die, some amount is sent to you. That is now what the company does. But behind the scenes, there will always be that mchango group that will continue. And then on the day of the funeral, you'll notice that definitely they'll send somebody, and even to the prayers, just to condole with the family. That is important. Even if the organization is very busy, it's important to just look back and stop a few things and stand with the family at that time. But succession planning is a must. It's a requirement. So if you see someone jumping into the role, it is because that was the business continuity plan that was put in place.
And the staff aware nini welfare kitty. Mi nikiresign mnaweza nipea pesa yangu niende.
Terms and conditions apply.
Sasa si mnipe pesa si nimeshatoka huko.
So which money? Remember, it's a pool of money.
And
the purpose, remember, there is and that is why you cannot underestimate the role that policy and procedures play. Everything has to be documented. We are collecting 100 bob from every staff, and this is how it will be administered. So that when you're resigning, you just don't start saying things that are not in the policy. So if you have left, we probably gifted you at your wedding. We probably bought diapers for your baby. We probably came up with an envelope when you lost. So you have actually benefited from that kitty. And probably that kitty also has an exit package that if you're leaving the organization, there shall be a send-off package of
this much.
So that it's properly documented. And there are even officials. There is a chair, a treasurer.
Everyone.
To make sure it's properly administered. So Lynn, if you take what we are discussing, it's clear that it's important to document things. It is important to document policies. HR is as good as the policies of that organization.
Beautiful. And maybe finally, we've done good actually, but is it true that a company with a high employee turnover is not a healthy company to work in? Munaishingi tu kuhaya. Kazi yenyu ni kuhaya. Is it true that it's not a healthy organization to be part of?
I can't downplay that. It's possible because people would not want to leave a very good and healthy place. On the other hand, it could be that your people are being developed and they are looking very they're marketable to other organizations.
Mm-hmm.
There's two ways of looking at it. It could be that you're doing a very good job in growing your people, but not working hard to retain them.
Yes.
So it's a good training ground, but it's not a place people want to stay for long. So it's possible. And it could be that you're doing a very good job growing your people, that other organizations are seeing them
Always
and coming
poaching.
for them and giving them better terms. So there's something here that is probably not the very best. There's something that is attracting them to other employers. So it's good to have a turnover rate, yes, because again, a place that people are not also living begs the question then, is either there's a problem with the talent you have there, why are they not attractive to
the other job market?
Exactly. But again,
oh wow,
and also people living too much can interfere with business. You can imagine if you're always in the business, and hiring is a tedious process. It is a tedious process. So to save time, and that's why people will always consider inside promotions, internal recruitment as opposed to external recruitment. You get, because it's a very tedious process. So an organization will work hard to retain the people at least 2 years. It's good. 3 years. But if you're having a turnover of maybe every other month there's somebody leaving, there's something that you need to look into. And that is what I was telling you, you need to do those surveys. Be it an employee engagement survey, employee satisfaction survey, just something that gives you hints on what it is that people are running away from or is making them uncomfortable. Then you work on it. So again, HR has to make sure that the place is comfortable by implementing such feedback.
Wow. Corporate ikona mambo.
Yeah, it's work. It is work. And that's why you also need to make sure that, as you're saying, HR clear the perception that we're all about hiring and firing. There is so much work inside there, including that environment, as you're saying, to make sure people are not leaving. There are a lot of work goes into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, man, we've learned, unlearned, we've relearned. I did not think that if you have an organization and what work huko 5 years, 10 years, you also need to look at it as though they might not be competitive enough to attract. So it's not a flex.
Pros and cons. Everything has a pro and con.
Yeah, it's not a flex that it took meishi hapa 7 years.
No, it's in fact the trend in the workplace right now is continuous. After some time, people want to exit, people want a new challenge, because a lot of things are changing. So it's no longer the pride of those days of our parents where I've worked in an organization until retirement. No, it's now even the workforce we have right now, Lynn, will not stay with you forever. They are happy to come and deliver a certain project successfully at Lynn and then off to the next challenge. They want a challenge. 2 years, they are done with that challenge. That year, they want a new challenge.
On to the next one.
And I
always feel there's something in your second year that needs a challenge.
Towards the third. Yes.
Then
you're saying I can't be doing the same thing. Something must change.
Then the fifth one. You see, you even did 4 years.
Yes,
before
exactly.
You took, me too, man.
And exactly, that 4th year, you can be sure you probably dropped it on the 3rd year. That 4th year, you were just, exactly. That 4th year was for decision making. So you'll realize it's human. So if you see someone just comfortable on the 10th year, still
I fear
taking
my 4th
pride.
Years. I honestly fear my 4th years. I make very drastic decisions. Like I'm always like, wait, I make very drastic.
So a staff turnover of 3 years is healthy. What you need to be worried about is those monthly ones.
The monthly
that are
ones.
Disturbing even business.
What do you do with these people who just come to you in an organization and say, nipe kazi, I can do just any job? What do you do?
It's possible. There are people who personally, from where I am, given a chance just by the boldness of coming and saying, I want a job. In fact, they went ahead and said, I don't want pay. I just want a job. And coincidentally, there was an internship position. So what I did is ask them for their papers. And they were competent enough to handle the role. The best thing with the internship programs, they are 3 months. So you're able to monitor the performance of the person. And it's a success story because with time, that person has grown from an intern and now 3 years serving in that organization, meaning they proved themselves. So it will get to a place where someone is so desperate and they use their faith and say, I am going to this point just for them to give a job. And that day it just happens that luck is on you. You even find the right people at the right places who will listen to you. So again, believe in yourself and just go out there and give it your best try. Especially how you package yourself. Make sure you're also presentable. If I just show up with you looking all organized and I tell you I need a job, I don't even need pay, I just need experience, chances are you're likely to get lucky.
Image.
If you portray yourself well, I ask you, send me your papers, give me your papers, you have them. As opposed to, give me your papers and you tell me I have to go and send you, I don't have them.
They are still in
You're
my
not
school.
prepared. You're not prepared. But show up prepared that I am ready to take up the opportunity even now. The people who went for interviews and they were told start today.
Yeah,
because they were also prepared. So it's possible. It's actually very possible to get somebody who comes and says, I need a job. And you walk into a day even when interviews are being conducted and they're like, do you have your papers? Join this. And you emerge as the best. It's possible.
Okay,
it's
so
possible.
Confidence, Tena.
And be prepared. Every day you hit the door, lean, just clothe yourself with confidence and make sure you dress the way you want to be addressed. Yes.
Great. And another question from the team. You know, we spoke about the CEO part and of course the disciplinary, but what happens again, the way Joshua is asking, when policies are ignored completely, they are outright ignored. Your CEO does not care, because you've seen it even happen in the country where, for example, a senior person will not take the judiciary recommendation seriously. They've been told to go to court. There's contempt of court. They are the boss. So in instances where such happens, what do you do? Should I now go the legal way if I was the one complaining as an employee? Nifanye nini sasa?
True. You'll find that most now employees will go to court, to the labor courts. But from a HR perspective, that is why we are encouraged to remain professional and document as much as you can. Make sure that procedures are followed the right way. Even if the organization makes a decision not to follow, make sure that from your expert and professional perspective, you advise them, not verbally, in writing, including that CEO or manager who is refusing to follow policy. Make sure that you have discussed with them and you have gone back and put it in writing. Lean as discussed. Please note that this is the policy, this is what is expected of you. So that even if you don't do it, from where I'm seated, I've done the moral obligation and professional way of handling that particular situation. Because when the employee now goes to court, get what will be asked for by the courts?
The minutes.
Documentation. Was this done? Was this done? Was this done? And chances are when the whole process is done, it will be clear who was on the wrong. It will show that the CEO was on the wrong. The HR did their part. And a very good and sound organization will be able to take measures, immediate disciplinary measures on the person. But at least from a HR perspective, you'll have covered all the holes that from the organization perspective, what is your task to take care, you protect the company. So you have done what is necessary, documented to the staff, documented to the manager, to the CEO, with your proper professional guidance. So if they don't take it, that's a different story.
Because the chances are I can sue the company and join the CEO and then join the HR. I can sue the three of you.
Yes. But you know what the judgment will be? What was not well done. And it will be pointing up to the person. So HR will be cleared. You obviously now you're the one who is the claimant, so you will get you'll get whatever it is that the justice you're looking for. But on the company side, somebody will end up facing the consequences. And in this case, the best thing is that every company has a board of directors, policies on how to separate with the CEO, with the directors. So if, as high as you are, if you're the one who has caused that organization, that disciplinary measure will be taken on you.
Whether you like it
or not. It may have taken a long process of going to court, but again, at the end, the justice and the truth will come out. So from where you're seated as a HR, as much as possible, make sure you do it right. Even if they will ignore, just make sure you do it right. Document. Very important.
It will count.
Very important.
All right. So the notion that a HR is just a company's puppet is wrong.
It is wrong. And let me tell you, we protect both. You see, even you going to court has made sure that the justice is clear, because I have shown that there were interventions from my end. They were not listened to. So you could have been thinking HR covered it up, because it got to a place I got quiet. But I did the recommendations to the CEO. He just decided to ignore. And so you went to court thinking that HR is useless. No, the HR was not useless. They made sure they did exactly what needed to be done, but to the limits of their control. Because now you can't go and force the director or the CEO to do this. So they will
Okay.
ignore, but choices have consequences. That tells you then why HR at times you say HR hakufanya, nitoka huko HR hakufanya. HR alifanya. It's just that you don't know. Alifanya everything that they needed to know to do. They might disclose to you that I've actually put it in writing to the CEO. Let's wait for their response, and then they keep updating you. The CEO has not responded. And let me also add, Lynn, at times it's also good to look at options. This life has options. So you'll decide you'll go to court, or you can decide, let me leave. You get? Because the court process is also long and tedious. It will eat into your money. So you can decide, this organization is not good for me. I will resign. As a HR profession, also I could say, this organization does not follow policy. They are not keen on following policy. As a professional, I don't think this is a fit for me. I can also choose to resign. And now maybe they hire people who will come and be okay with that mode of working. So it's a win-win situation. You can decide, let me get away, or let me take them to court. But from where you're seated, as a HR professional, it's always good to do what is professionally right. As a staff, it's always good for you to weigh what can you handle, what can you handle.
Choose your poison. Exactly.
Are you able to go to court every other mention, pay a lawyer? What would you rather choose? Do you want that? Or do you want to just tender in a resignation and say, this organization was not good for me, let me go and look for another organization? It's also possible.
All right. And lastly, a very interesting question. Why is it that you being for us means sometimes having condoms in the gents places, but when it comes to the women department, hatuna sanitary towels, hatuna chochote, but condoms are very, very much advocated.
But even the condoms are helping both genders.
So
are they not helping both genders? Are they just meant for the man? By the way, I'm seeing that as a very, it's a fair, if it's a fair play, then we can distribute the condoms to be both sides. And I think they're usually in both, because they're helping both genders.
Yes.
The reason why we may not have things like sanitary towels in the ladies' room is because of brands and reactions. Those things are a bit sensitive.
Pia condoms ni sensitive.
So,
vanilla, blue.
But you know, there are those ones that there are things that are easy to provide, because they are outside there in the market, and there's a common brand that is accepted, and it's maybe even being advocated for by the government or a certain organization, tried and tested. Now, when you come to ladies, and also remember that those condoms are, that one remains in your head. It's not men only specific. It's helping both genders. So if you want us to get some from the men and add to the ladies, we shall do that. Now, for the reason why you may find some specific things may not be provided in the ladies' room, just naturally the way ladies are wired, they have choices. Their bodies react differently. They are very sensitive. I don't want to be the catalyst to your infection, catalyst to your itchiness, catalyst to your next disease. I don't want. I would rather pay you well, or add a package in your salary that allows you choose the pads, sanitary towels that you're comfortable in. It's just weighing option. And that's why at times you'll also provide, people may not provide lunch per se, but they'll put a kitty, or they'll say eat in a restaurant and then we will pay 50%. Because then you go and choose what is good for you. Because in the times we are in, you can actually be a catalyst to something that may not sit well with your staff. Lynn, remember that dealing with people is sensitive. It's complex. So at times HR will make some decisions that may not be favor a majority, but it's because they're trying to take care of everybody, inclusivity in that organization. So those are some of the reasons and behind the scenes that a HR could be considering, or an organization be considering, when you see them not putting such particular items outside there, but they provide the necessary support behind the scenes to make that everybody has what they need.
We've seen countries where women are being given 3 days off for their cramps and their periods.
That's a welcome conversation, Lynn. It's a very welcome conversation, and that's why I've said HR is now it's evolving and it's changing to also the changing workplace. The workplace is changing, so that's a welcome conversation. We're at a place where we've even increased maternity leave. Gonna are the days when it was just 3 months. So you see organizations are putting it to
6
4, 5,
months.
6, 9.
Yeah.
Now there's even a trend of 9. Or if you're doing 6 and you get a remote work from home. So these conversations are now there on the table based on how fast an organization can adapt. And of course, making sure that they have the necessary, it comes with the necessary resourcing and programs around it. So it's there. That's a welcome conversation.
It's a good one.
And especially now with work from home, it's helping sort such things.
Yes.
Because I'm about to work from home. And no one will even know I have crumbs.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the day
but
that's all right.
It depends now on the nature of your job. Like now, you Lynn, will you take the studio to your house? You have to leave the house.
If you don't know that pain, that day I don't even shoot. And if I shoot, it's because I don't have an alternative. But you prefer just sleeping the whole day and eating all the cravings that you. Yeah, because I know it's different it's very difficult, different also. So I can't wait for the day it becomes a right.
Yeah, but I can say organizations have evolved, and with work from home right now, that is being addressed because you don't have to come to the office. If you're in comfortable pain, you stay home. I know you still be required to work, but I think you can call in. Those are things you can call into your supervisor and just say, you know what, it's that time. Yeah.
You said you would rate me at the end of the show. Are you hiring me now?
Even for just the energy. I'm hiring you. And then you'll be the head of marketing and communication. Branding, in charge of brand marketing and communication. Yes.
I'm looking for a second
the
job.
Brand will fly.
The brand will fly.
So you're hired. When can you report?
Tell me to start immediately.
No, serve notice. Have you served notice? What are your employment terms here?
Serve notice.
Who are you handing over to? You know?
Joshua is right there. But Edwin is right here to sit on this chair and do magic. My notice period is 1 month. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, send me the word. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you hired. You are definitely hireable.
Grace, it's
marketable.
And marketable.
Yeah, you're marketing yourself. You're selling yourself because you're a brand.
I'll continue improving.
Yes. It's progress over perfection. So keep on continuous improvement. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been really nice having you on this show.
It's also been good.
We've learned, unlearned, and relearned. So it's been amazing. Maybe before we wind up, very sure our audience will definitely want to get in touch. Where can they find you? And also one of the things I ask the guests is to recommend 2 books they would want our audience to read.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm available on all social media platforms. And I'm consistent. I use the word Grace Mathu. So if you go on LinkedIn, if you go on Facebook, if you go on Instagram, you'll find me there. I started a YouTube channel. I'll pick a few tips from you on how to get to 1 million subscribers.
Good job.
Yeah, so it's also there, Grace Mathu. Yeah, just my tagline is just inspiring all generations. I love to inspire. So I'll be making sure that I inspire people to become the best versions of themselves, Lynn, because remember that you're uniquely made. There's only one Lynn. And you came to fulfill a certain purpose here on earth, to serve a certain purpose. And if you don't do it, it remains undone. That's injustice, right? So you want to make sure that everything inside of you is made use of by this world. So I inspire people to become the best versions of themselves. Yes, and I would love to recommend, especially for people in offices, The Bigger Deal. What The Bigger Deal does by Sunny Bindra, it helps you know that you're not defined by a job. In any case, you're the value in that job. They hire you because you have something inside of you. It encourages people to become, to value whatever it is that they carry. So if you don't love a job, you don't have to wake up every day and drag your feet to a job that you don't like. What if you just make a decision and follow the heart's desires, your passion, your gifts, and your talents? You know, it's an amazing book. Then there is what I would recommend to every woman, How Women Rise. You know, navigating the corporate space as a woman is not just, you can't just say it's black and white. It requires a lot of guidance, you know, knowing yourself, believing in your femininity and living it, and knowing that it's not that you're disadvantaged as a woman, but it is showing up as the woman, because the office needs you as that woman. There's a reason why you're that woman. You can be the CEO. there might be areas you need to work on, be it emotional intelligence, how do you carry it and avoid excuses. You're just making it gives you sort of guidance and inspiration of how to rise as a woman. I would recommend it to every woman who's trying to make their way to the top.
You brought me a copy.
And I have brought you a copy because
it.
I think you're that woman who needs to keep rising and rising. And so far you've made such good progress in inspiring not just your village, the world.
Thank
you know, that's an achievement when you rise beyond making impact in your own territory and go to the world. And I wish you the very best. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you can see the passion in it. Yeah.
To you too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Honestly, thank you so much. I know it has taken a lot for you to even make time for this conversation. And I hope it has served the purpose it was meant to serve to our audience. And I love what you said. You are a unique being.
Yes.
And I love to tell people, be you. That's your power. If people knew how much power there is to showing up as them, not showing up as other people, you are saving yourself a lot of trouble just by existing as you are. Just you. That's your power. We can't be too Grace. We can't be too Lynn. It's just your Grace and I'm Lynn. And that's our power.
And pick your lane and go with that.
Shall we wind up?
Yes.
Let me see how if I would hire you as a presenter based on how you wind up the show. Yes. Maliza show. Wambie nice thank you for watching. Wambie thank you for 1 million+ subscribers. Wakwambie feedback on the comment section. Do it. Yes. Wanunue nyumba Kings.
Oh my goodness.
Twende kazi.
Oh God.
Yes.
Thank you, Lynn, for having me. This has been an interesting conversation, and I hope that it inspires someone outside there to become the best versions of themselves. I'm sure you've learned something, you're unlearning something, and you're relearning. Special thanks to Lynn for actually having this show. Now, give us your feedback. You know, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So if you can only improve if you give us feedback, let us know what you have learned, what we can do better, other topics that you'd like to have on this show, we shall appreciate. And thank you for all the support. Lynn has hit 1 million+ subscribers. Thank you for all the support. Keep conversing. Let her know what other people you'd like to have on this show. What do you want to hear? That's what Lynn wants to know. What do you want to hear? Who else should she bring next after Grace? So thank you so much. And thank you to our sponsors, the people who have made this show happen, like the King's developers. And please go there to their offices and say you've been sent by Lynn. I'm told there's a huge discount for you. So show up at the King's developers offices and say I have been sent by Lynn. And I'm sure it's towards Christmas, so maybe they might just be having a Christmas offer. So don't wait for long. Go now when it's still early. Thank you so much for watching us, and let's keep talking. Like, subscribe, share, and tell your friend to tell a friend to watch Lynn's show and give us feedback. Thank you, and see you in the next show.
You're hired. You're hired.
How much?
Welcome to the
How
team.
much? How much?
Wachana na pesa kwanza. You're hired. How much do you need? How much do you? Our budget is.
How did I do?